Welcome. Time again for another Truest Fan Blueprint. Rob Brown here with my partner, Phil Calandra. Welcome, Phil.
Hi, Rob. Good to be here.
It absolutely is. And actually, that was a little bit of a false opening because we've been working pretty hard for the last couple of hours. And that work that we've been doing has actually spawned a topic that we want to share in today's podcast, which is why dreaming matters. And what our listeners don't know, Phil, is that we are getting ready to launch a new program. It's going to have elements of coursework and membership so that we can really build the Truest Fan community around the Truest Fan Blueprints. And one of the first steps in our process is what we call the Dream Big framework. And as we were working on that module today, we create a couple of slides and we say, let's take some time and share why dreaming matters, why the Dream Big framework matters to our listeners, because it's a way of letting folks know that we've got this great thing coming up, but it's also such an important topic as we come here to the end of the year, and which is a time that we encourage our members, the folks that we coach now, to review their dreams and see what's changed. So seemed like a good idea. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think this is going to turn out to be a great podcast because, as you mentioned, we get hard to believe. We're almost midway through the month of October, going to head into November and the last 2 months of 2023. And then what is everybody going to do? They're going to go through their New Year's resolutions. Heaven forbid. And they're going to start setting goals. And what we believe is that you can't set goals until you've had your dream big event, your dream big session. Dreaming is the catalyst for all achievement. I tell clients in my financial planning practice all the time, you cannot invest successfully for a retirement you can't imagine, that you can't dream of. And that's true in every facet of our life, right? You have to be able to envision it and see it and dream it. Every child, when they're young, has these vivid dreams about being a fireman or being a school teacher or president of the United States. And one of the worst things we do for children is what? Tell them you don't want to be the president of the United States, or you're not going to be the CEO, or you're not going to be the next Kobe Bryant. Dreaming is everything.
Yeah. And it's so easy to step on dreams. And sometimes we step on other people's dreams, but also too often we step on our own dreams. So That's one of the big things to remember as we're talking about why dreaming matters. And by the way, Phil and I are looking at a couple of slides in the presentation that we're going to be putting into this new program. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing these slides. But if you're listening on your favorite podcast network and you can't see them, go to the show notes. And I'm going to have our producer put a copy of these two slides in there, because these steps, these ideas around why dreaming matters could help you as you're getting ready for the new years, as you start to dream, whether you're revisiting dreams that you have had in the past and clarifying them and getting more energy around them, or you're doing it for the first time. And Phil, on the slide, it says why dreaming matters is kind of number 2 is it stokes creativity, unleashes innovative ideas, which sometimes goal setting doesn't do. Goal setting becomes this exercise in budgeting versus really thinking about what it is really going to make you feel excited about what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think when we talk about dreams, dreaming big, it can be figuratively. Think about your actual dreams, I guess. When you actually are at sleep, when you're not awake, we're talking about cognitive dreaming while you're awake in the context of goal setting. But think for a minute while you're asleep, while you're at rest and you're dreaming. Well, when you do dream at sleep, you're flying, you are doing something amazingly creative and fun. In my dreams, it always works out perfectly the way that I always wanted it to. And why then don't we take those sleep, when we think of dreaming and we think of our dreams at rest or sleep, why don't they translate? And that's what we're talking about, creating dreams cognitively while we're awake that unleashes this innovative idea. Why is it that you're flying when you're sleeping, but then when you're awake, why couldn't you do the same thing? Why couldn't you unleash the same innovative ideas? And I guarantee you all success through history has been cognitively awake dreaming. When two guys, Wozniak and Jobs, in their garage, they were very much awake, creating what we hold in our hands as the iPhone 15, more computing power in the palm of your hand than every single IBM mainframe that existed in the planet back in 1970. Innovative ideas. So that's what we're talking about, why dreaming matters.
Yeah. That's absolutely right. And when you talk about Wozniak and Jobs, I think some people maybe get afraid of that, say, well, I don't have dreams as big as they do, but you do have dreams. You do have things that you want to have happen in your life and in your business with your family. And that's why dreaming has to come before visioning and goal setting and action planning, because it stokes that creativity. The other thing that it does is it's also a point of resilience, because there are going to be times when we run into obstacles to our businesses, our lives, and we're saying, how are we going to fight through this? And we've got to go back and say, that's my dream. And if it really is my dream, it's something I want to have happen, then it creates that resilience. So it's a beacon during tough times.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I can speak very plainly and clearly to our listeners and viewers. In my dream was to become a financial advisor in a solo practice, be in complete control of the entrepreneurial journey. And one of my dreams was financial independence and financial freedom, financial security for my family. I was raised predominantly by a single mother who just did an amazing job in raising 3 kids, but we didn't have a lot of money. So one of my dreams was not to be put into a pecuniary position of not having financial resources. And lo and behold, the dream played out for me in a multi-million-dollar sale of my practice and financial independence. But you're exactly right. I had to be resilient. That just didn't happen overnight. It was 20 years in building what I thought was the perfect dream business. And I had to pull on a heck of a lot of positive mindset to get through some of those times that are really, really tough. The dream, the path of least resistance, is oftentimes point A to point B. Dreams don't always work out that way. And you better be ready. You better be damn ready to be resilient and recreate that creativity and innovation as you go.
Yeah. Phil, not to cut you short, but we could talk, I think, another 2 hours about what's on these slides. So in the interest of time, let's hit just a couple of other highlights on these slides. And remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing the video, you can see these bullet points under Why Dreaming Matters. But if you want more, if you really want to dig in and do a dream big exercise, this will help you. When I look at the bullet points we created here, one of them is dreaming actually enhances problem solving. And one of the great ways for me to think about this is dreaming is one of those things that actually makes it a little bit easier to say no to what's right and yes to what's wrong, because we're asking ourselves questions. We're looking at new opportunities based on the reality, or not the reality, the picture that we have for what success will look like, because ultimately that's what a dream is. It's a picture of your future success. And when you have that picture of future success and you work towards it, it has a way of working itself out.
Yeah.
So I think that also stretches into dreams help us define our purpose. It helps us set that path in life.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that following the bullet points there, optimism is the only realism. That's something that I was taught and something that I believe. And having dreams allows you to have hope for a bigger future and a brighter future. And optimism is a key part of the mindset that I think has made me successful. And then the next one I'll throw out there for us, Rob, is the ability to focus, the ability to really be laser enhanced in our focus. And it will allow you to create more momentum towards your vision.
Yeah, that's a great point. And as you were talking, Phil, what jumped into my mind is how the whole idea of Truest Fan and the original Truest Fan book came to be. It came out of a dream that I had for over 20 years. And when I would review my dreams and think about those things that I wanted to do, that would constantly come back. But it didn't work its way into an action step for a bunch of years. But now that it has, and I go back and dream some more around the idea of a Truest Fan, and we've come together and created the Truest Fan Blueprint, and we're building this community, it's just another extension of that dream, or another iteration of that original dream that came about writing a book like Truest Fan.
Yeah.
And that's probably a great place to land the plane for today. And I would say, if you're listening to this podcast, we always like to leave you with an action step. What can you do with what we've talked about today if this idea resonates with you? And I think the real key is that if you are getting ready to do some goal setting or some planning, or you've done some in the past and you haven't created a big dream framework to go with it, take some time over the next week and start dreaming big, journaling, writing those ideas down that you have for what your life might look like 10 years from now, who you'll be around, what success will you have achieved. I think that's a really important way to kind of bring this all together. What do you think, Phil?
I think that's great advice. I think that if people will take the time before they go into this goal setting, we've all heard about goal setting. Great. Take some time, the pre-work to goal setting is dream big, and I couldn't agree more.
Okay, awesome. So let's finish it here. And as always, remind you, the folks who are part of the Truest Fan Blueprint podcast community, take some time, share this podcast with others who might benefit from the idea of dreaming big. And as always, remember, we're rooting for your success.